I've not been this excited for a budgeting app in a long time. Hey lovebirds, I'm Dan Hinz and welcome to Adulting with Money, where I help couples unite, not fight over their money, whether you want to crush debt faster, buy a house sooner, or you just want to get on the same page. So let's get to it. It's pretty rare when I start to get excited about a money and budgeting app. Now, I am a financial coach and I talk about this stuff all the time, but most of these tools are the same over and over again. But the Zeta app adds just a couple tweaks that make it really exciting for individuals and for couples as well. The people that complain to me about starting a budgeting app and then giving it up have basically the same three complaints. Is that number one, we don't really know what we're doing. Number two, we want it to be simple and easy. And especially number three for couples is we're not sure what we want to do about joint accounts or separate accounts. Now, the Zeta app has all of those standard features that all money apps have. You can connect your bank accounts, you can start to budget, you can track all of your transactions and then categorize them. You can have bill reminders, you can have goals. But the Zeta app, what's awesome about it is that all of those can be individual or they can be joint. So you can have individual goals and joint goals, individual budgets and joint budgets, individual accounts and joint accounts, and so on and so forth, so that you really can separate, like, this is mine, this is yours, and this is ours. So let's get to the features that I fell in love with. The first is the Memo feature of the Zeta app. Now, I reviewed the Honeydew budgeting app for couples, and it has this as well. Essentially what it is you have this conversation between you and your partner when you're using the Zeta app. When you sign up for the Zeta app, you have your own account, but then your partner signs up for the app and they have their own account. And then you decide, okay, we're gonna use this together. So with this Memo app, that's great because if you're trying to keep an eye on a joint bank account and there's some sort of purchase or transaction that you're not sure what it is and you see it first, you just click a button and you say, hey, I saw this. What is it? Where does it need to be categorized? And you can have that financial conversation privately within the app. The next feature that I fell in love with was how to split bills. So if you're living together and you're splitting rent, or you're trying to split a mortgage, or you're trying to split any sort of bill at all, the Zeta app makes it really easy to do that. Now, I want to show you how that works. So a little bit later in the video, I'll come back and show you how you split a bill and how easy it is to do that. And speaking of bills, the next feature that I loved was that when the Zeta app connects to your bank account, it starts to look for bills. It starts to look for these recurring expenses, and it asks you directly, like, hey, we saw this Netflix for $11. Do you want it as a bill in your bill calendar? And do you want us to remind you of this every month? So you just click yes and set it up, or you just say, no, that's not a bill I want to track. Don't worry about it. But the fact that it's just so easy to set that up and it happens automatically, I was really impressed. The next feature that I fell in love with is the task list. Basically, every time you open the app, if there's something that has happened and you need to mark something as categorized, or it's a new bill, or your partner sends you a message in the Memo feature, there's a task list. When it comes to couples or individuals trying to budget and manage money for the first time, it's a little daunting. And so here the app starts to walk you through, here's what's going on, did you catch this, did you miss this? It's holding your hand. And then the next feature that I really liked was that it asks you if you want to make rules. There are people that I've talked with that hate certain apps and have stopped using them because every time they go to a particular store or a particular location and they buy something, it's always groceries, or they always buy gas there. And then the app never really learns that this always happens. And so you have to tell the app, and that can get really annoying for some people. With the Zeta app, what it does is every time you change a setting, a little thing pops up and asks, do you want to make this a rule? So if you take, for us, we have Publix, it's a grocery store. We only buy groceries there. We don't really buy anything else there. So every time Publix shows up in our app, we mark it as groceries. But the Zeta app will ask, do you want to make this a rule? So that every time it sees Publix, it will mark it as groceries. And so again, this goes back to that if you're new to budgeting and new to handling money, especially as a couple, is that you can make these rules to help make things even more automatic than they were before. The last feature of the Zeta app that really impressed me is how it helps you decide what to show your partner and what to hide from your partner. Now, I'm not saying that you should hide anything from your partner, but if you're using this app as for with a roommate and you're trying to share money and share bills, but you don't want them to see everything, then the app really does a great job of letting you know what you're sharing and what you're not sharing. And the twist that Zeta puts on this feature is that it's got a final button that says, show me what my partner can see of me. So especially if you're trying to surprise your partner with buying an engagement ring or buying a birthday present, the app makes it really easy to see whether or not they're gonna know about it ahead of time. Now, I've been gushing about the app the whole time, but there are some drawbacks, some things I don't like. The first is that visually, it's not the prettiest app in the world, and it is a fairly new app, so I'm sure over time, as they get more money and sponsors and all sorts of stuff, is that visually it will start to look better. The second thing that I don't quite like, but I understand, is that the app feels slow to use. And now this is pretty common among many budgeting apps because they don't store your financial information on your phone or on your computer or on your tablet. Is that everything is securely saved in the cloud. So anytime you push a button and want to see some information, the app has to go and get that information and bring it back. So it feels a little slow to use, but in my experience, that's pretty common when it comes to money apps. And also, I'm gonna get a little nitpicky here, but every other budgeting and money app that I have used in order to split a transaction. So if you go to Walmart and spend $100 and you wanna split it into like $50 in groceries and $50 in clothing, every other money app uses the word split, and it uses this arrow that divides into two. With the Zeta app, they use the word split and that arrow to mean you're splitting a bill with an individual. But if you have that Walmart for $100, it has a button that says multiple categories, and then you have to split it into multiple categories. All right, as promised, I want to really quickly show you how you can split a bill with your partner in the Zeta app and how easy it is to use.
So what I have here is the rent, our mortgage payment for me and my wife. So if I hit the split button, it shows here that Allison owes Dan. And this percentage here, you can do 50%, you can do whatever percentage you want. So if I do like 75%, Allison owes me, or maybe she earns twice as much as me, so she owes 66% and I pay the other third. It shows how much amount she owes me, and I click save. The splits screen, and it shows here that Allison owes me that amount for our mortgage or for rent. And this is the awesome part. So here you can just click settle up, and then from Allison to me. Now, since Allison owes me money, all I'd have to do is type the settle up button and we'd be done. But if you were paying your partner some rent or some part of the utilities, then you have your PayPal linked right here or your Venmo. You can pay it, you can settle up, and it's that easy.
Now, Zeta isn't the greatest money app in the world. I think that YNAB is the best for personal budgeting, but it costs money. And if you want to do something for free, you can use Mint like me and my wife. But then also Zeta is right underneath that. And I put Zeta as third mainly because if you're more of a money nerd like me and you want more details and more control and a couple more features, then the Zeta app is probably going to disappoint you. The good thing about the Zeta app is it does make it really, really easy for couples to start getting on the same page with money. And especially when it comes to that question of should we get joint accounts or should we keep everything separate or should we do something in between? And you don't have to answer that question and know for a fact what you want to do before you start using the app. If you're a couple and you need to start getting together on money, Zeta is a wonderful app. If you're a money nerd and you're a little bit more detail oriented, a little bit more OCD, go to Mint or pony up for the money and buy YNAB. Otherwise, I highly suggest the Zeta app. Be sure to check out my other app reviews in this playlist. YouTube thinks you're gonna love this video, and thank you for watching. And remember, consistency beats perfection.